So today, President-elect Trump's nominee for Attorney General Pam Bondi is set to visit with senators on Capitol Hill. It comes as Trump's pick to lead the FBI, Kash Patel, is causing panic on the left and somewhat worried on the right. Bill Malusian is in West Palm Beach. Bill.
And Brian, good morning to you. Donald Trump's pick for Attorney General Pam Bondi is going to be on Capitol Hill today, where she's expected to meet with some key Republican senators. Bondi has been serving as the state of Florida's Attorney General, and she was picked by Trump after Matt Gaetz withdrew his own nomination for AG. Bondi is widely respected. She's repeatedly sued the Biden administration over its open border policies, and she's also been a longtime Trump loyalist. GOP Senator Chuck Grassley announced he's going to meet with Bondi this morning in D.C. She's also expected to meet with other key Republicans today to try to pave the way for a smooth transition and confirmation process. Now, in addition to Charles Kushner, who Trump picked to be ambassador to France, another splashy pick that Trump made over the weekend was his nomination of Kash Patel for FBI director. As you can imagine, that announcement sent shockwaves through Washington. It was outrage from Democrats and praise from Trump's allies. Patel served in intelligence and defense roles under Trump during his first administration. Trump has called him a brilliant lawyer and investigator and, quote, an America First fighter who has spent his career exposing corruption. Some critics and Democrats have said Patel just doesn't have the experience for the job, but Republican Senator Bill Hagerty is firing back.
There are people that are serving in the current administration that are woefully inexperienced. I think Kash does have relevant experience, particularly when it comes to the mandate the American public have assigned of turning these agencies around that have become completely corrupted. Kash has pointed it out. He's probably the best at uncovering what's happened at the FBI, and I look forward to seeing him taking it apart.
And the current director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, is 7 years into his current 10-year term, which ends in 2027. Wray has said he has no intention whatsoever of resigning. So if Trump wants to get Patel in the position of FBI director, he's going to have to be confirmed by the Senate, and then Trump would have to fire Chris Wray as FBI director. Brian, we'll send it back to you.
Wow, what a busy weekend. Thanks so much, Bill. Appreciate it. And now let's build on this. As Kash Patel vows to go after the deep state, one Democratic lawmaker doesn't even think the deep state exists.
I haven't seen what the proof is that the FBI has been weaponized against a political party or the Department of Justice. And I think that's what they mean when they talk about politicization in the deep state. I mean, the deep state, nobody's ever defined it. Apparently, it just means anybody who doesn't do the will of Donald Trump.
Well, nobody believes that, and not even him. But our next guest disagrees. KT McFarland knows all about being targeted. She experienced it firsthand when she served as Trump's deputy national security advisor for a brief period of time. She joins us now. So your thought, KT, of what Jamie Raskin just claimed?
There is going to be so much evidence, and Kash Patel will know how to find it all. You know, government workers are not really, they're not gutsy people, right? They'll always want a paper trail to protect themselves for what they were doing. There was a lot of intimidation and prosecution and persecution of Trump administration people. There will be files and files of that. Now, normally, when a director of intelligence, whatever the organization is, comes into office, you know, the staff says, oh, look, we can't find it, or we got to protect this secret information because it's going to reveal sources and methods. Kash Patel, because of the experience he's had, he knows that that's just wrong. I mean, he knows that that's just an excuse for a cover-up. So he's going to uncover, and there will be a lot of evidence, and I know from firsthand experience that there'll be evidence of how they came after me and Donald Trump and others in the Trump administration.
You know, he's pursued terrorists. He's been a prosecutor. He's been a defender. And since 2018, he got on Donald Trump's radar and has been very loyal and impressing him ever since. From what you know about the Senate, do you think he can pass? He could only afford to lose three Republicans.
You know, Donald Trump has just received an overwhelming mandate from the United States people. And if Kash Patel is not confirmed, that tells you something. It tells you that the deep state is so deep and it has so many tentacles out and controls so many political leaders that it's going to put a nomination like this, which should be on its merits, completely acceptable. This is a man with enormous experience, but because he's going to come after some bad guys who did bad things, maybe some of the senators will already be bought off. He should be confirmed, and if he is not confirmed, it's a travesty.
All right, real quick on these rebels that could take over Syria. Do we want them both to lose? These rebels look like al-Qaeda. They look like Salafist Sunnis who are the extremists threaten to take over Assad Syria, which is evil in its definition.
You know, my old boss, Henry Kissinger, used to say about the Iran-Iraq war, this is a war you want neither side to win. You know, you have Assad on one side backed up by the Russians and backed up by Iran. And then at the other side, you have myriad groups of rebels. Some groups are backed by al-Qaeda. Some are backed by Turkey. We even have a group in there. We have 900 American servicemen in the middle of this multi-party civil war. It's just another example of how messed up the Middle East is, and why should we have Americans yet again in the line of fire in a war that isn't going to work in any way to protect American vital national interests.
All right. Thanks so much, KT. Appreciate it. We just know this. Russia needs that warm water port in order to get weapons and everything else through that region that produces a lot of havoc and mayhem. I'd love for that to be taken away. KT, thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.